Welcome back and thank you for staying with us on KTV Primetime News. And if you're just joining us, you're streaming live this broadcast on our social media platforms on Facebook, KTV Kenya, and Twitter, KTV_Kenya, and also live on YouTube at KTV Kenya Live. Now, the late President Emilio Mwai Kibaki ended his final journey on earth in a culmination of a military ceremony at his home in Othaya. In him, Kenyans found an astute leader who brought about an economic turnaround that significantly shaped this nation. Tonight, we open the pages of his admirable leadership attributes, not forsaking other side of the coin, which slightly tainted his governance. And joining me for this discussion is Austin Omanya, who is a mentor and a great leadership coach. Thank you so much, Austin Omanya, for dedicating your time for this discussion.
Thank you so much for hosting me today.
Right. Yes. Now, right in the discussion, the late President Mwai Kibaki has been celebrated as among the greatest leaders that this country has ever had. So from a leadership perspective,
Yes.
what is it really that made his governance such outstanding?
Wow. Thank you once again. I think one of the leaders I admire, especially in Africa, is Nelson Mandela and then Mwai Kibaki.
Yes.
This guy really tried. You know, there's a difference between leadership and management. And actually what I find here is Kibaki was both a leader and a manager.
Right.
You see, one problem that we have in this country is that we elect politicians who are not even leaders.
Yes.
Okay? And they don't have the management skills. So I find Mwai Kibaki in the two terms, especially the first term, he did absolutely well. Because he told people that, you know what, I'm going to do free primary education. And indeed, it was there.
Yes.
Yeah, we enjoyed free primary education, even though it was marred with a lot of some corruption bit of it, which we shall get into that. But Mwai Kibaki, the late, tried the best he could for this country.
Right.
Yes.
Now, concerning the tremendous developments that we saw during his reign, we would wish to know, of course, you are mentioning that in him, of course, there is the leadership aspect and
Yes.
there also the management
yeah.
aspect of it.
Yes.
But could we say probably that another leverage that he had to achieve all this development could probably have been on his education level, people surrounding him, or or rather because he was a principal leader? What exactly,
Okay, all those factors could actually define why he was very progressive. I think one thing about the late Mwai Kibaki was that this guy had skills.
Right.
And not only leadership skills, but also managerial skills. You know, he was a very good economist.
Yes.
Yep. And this guy had placed everything possible on the table. And even his management style was a bit different. In fact, he is one person who could not make a lot of noise, on the streets. You could not see him on political rallies, in church, addressing ABCD. No, this guy knew what he was doing. And he knew one thing, that, for you to be a great leader, you have to really listen to yourself and not the noise of the world. So people could make a lot of noise, but President Kibaki could not talk, So it is again his principles. The man was very principled. If he say he's gonna do this, he will do it. All right? And again, the people he brought on board, because any great leader, behind any great leader, there are great strategists.
Yes.
Strategies is what we lack, especially in the governments that are collapsing. We lack people who can advise the president. But because he understood what economy was,
right,
that is why he could bring the best people, and then these guys really made him to make a lot of strides.
Right. Now, maybe just to get back to what you said at some earlier point, that Kenyans, we elect leaders when some of them probably don't even have the leadership skills.
Yes.
Right. Now, So how do you, because it's poignant that really we're having such a discussion ahead of the August polls, and Kenyans who are watching this will probably want to know that we're now headed to the elections period and we'll be electing leaders, and we would not want to gamble with this. So the leaders that are coming in campaigning for this post, of course, they are unlike President Mwai Kibaki, they're making noise, telling people I'm the best here and there. So how can Kenyans really know that, gauge that now this is the right leader, in as much as yes, he's vocal or he's not vocal, but in him we can find some good managerial skills, some good leadership skills that can be leveraged for development?
I thank you for that question. I think that is one of the most pregnant question for this show. Actually, we are heading towards an election period. And I know very well how we've been electing people. Basically, the county I come from, people are bleeding because these guys were told to choose someone because of a political alienation, political party. But those guys are crying up to date. Imagine for 10 years, for 10 years, electing a poor leader or bad leadership plunged that county into darkness. And you see, you cannot elect somebody right now, and then you tell them next year you're going to remove them from the office. It is not possible. Right. I'm saying this. For me to elect someone, I must have oriented with this person. I must have seen his records, Yes. Was this guy, okay, what projects has he done for the community, And then from there, despite the fact that maybe a certain political party will say, this is our person, that is none of our business. This time round, if you're a true Kenyan and a patriot, elect a leader who has got leadership skills and a manager who is able to manage the mega resources for the development of our counties. Right. Yes.
Now, maybe, if you would advise Kenyans to elect a leader who has, the leadership skills.
Yes.
These are things that can be seen from past experience. And, some people will be coming to this field, they're seeking representation when they have not probably held an elective post. And probably some of them, if you ask them about the track record, what they've done before, they tell you, maybe I was a civil servant, I'm just coming now to, represent you people.
Yes.
So there are people who don't have, the previous, the track records. But now you'd want to gauge them based on what they've done when they don't have probably something to show, but they probably have the education and everything.
Yes.
Now, how do we gauge these ones?
I think this one is very easy. Maybe I come to vie for a political seat for the first time.
Yes.
People don't know me. Why do you think we elect people? We elect people based on the vision. I have a dream. I love that speech. I have a dream. If you go and sell your dream to your people, yes, your kinsmen, and you tell them, I want to vie for MCA because you guys look, this has not been done, this has not been done. So anytime you elect me, because I want to see this county, I want to see this ward, progressing to this level in the next few years to come. Sell for people your dream. I'm telling you, there are guys who are going to surprise us in this particular election.
Yes.
Yep. It is not all about you are being famous, okay? But it is all about what are you able to do? Are you able to convince us that you can bring change? Because leadership is all about change, and change needs creativity. And you see, you have to communicate all this information, and then practically people will elect you.
Right.
Yes.
Now, it's also maybe just on a light note, still on that. When you say that, of course, we have a lot of first-timers coming for this post. Some people probably, we have also other leaders who have been there, but they're not so vocal. And then you find people who have, that ability, the capacity, they're so vocal, they are well articulate, they can well articulate what they have for the people, which also creates a room for propaganda, You can tell people, I'll do this,
yes.
And now you convince everyone that now this, when you elect this person, this is what is going to happen. But then after probably the elections, because most of the people who have been elected, you'll go from probably where you cited an example of where you come from. I believe that whoever was elected because probably he had a good manifesto for the people, but he failed on implementation.
Yes.
And then the laws that we're having in the country, we've hardly see people being recalled from the offices. So how can really people deal with this? You know, people don't have a track record, but they have a manifesto, they have an agenda that they can sell to you, of course, but now when it comes to implementation, they're nowhere to be seen.
I think manifesto is just a paperwork, okay? And everyone can do a manifesto. But now, when we come to implementation, that is another thing altogether. And that is why I was saying, a leader must be also a manager. You know, because leadership is all about vision, but management is about goals, okay? So if someone has a manifesto and you think it is doable, because again, I don't like a situation whereby politicians will promise, big junk, a lot of things to the citizens. Then by the end of the day, we were told, within 100 days, we are going to do this. 9 stadiums, laptops, and we are going to do this. And then you are not able to deliver all this. People will say you lied to them, So again, I'm asking somebody who is vying outside there, that can we make promises that we can deliver, Yes. Let us make promises that we can deliver. There's no need of saying something that is going to give you a lot of, so that you can judge people's hearts. But then by the end of the day, they are going to judge you by that. Let me tell you, if you have a manifesto, well and good. But again, do you have a work plan?
Right. Now, maybe let us deviate from that, because we want to learn, we want to borrow much from Kibaki's leadership. Now, comparing Kibaki's regime and the other presidents that preceded him, we saw that, for a name that remains on an object, for Kibaki was only the 40, on the 40th anniversary, where we had the 40 shillings coin, it had, of course, President Kibaki on it. But then for the previous presidents, we have Moi Stadium, a lot of things named after them. So I don't know, what do you make of this? And probably from that, what attribute should Kenyans pick from President Kibaki based on this?
Wow, I think this is very interesting. In Africa, leadership has been about a person, that individual. But do you know the real definition of leadership is about people? That is why we say the government is for people, by the people, for the people. But now, when our presidents get into power, the only legacy we want to bring on board is naming streets, naming schools after you. And I think Kibaki was a different person. Kibaki was a leader who was mature enough to think about people and not himself. That is why there are so few places named after Kibaki. Very few. Actually, I even don't know. But actually, what happened is that Kibaki was not an egocentric leader. He was a leader who served the interest of the society. Right.
Now, and away from that, on the flip side of Kibaki's legendary leadership, there was the Anglo leasing scandal, which became the biggest economic blight in his reign. Although it's very clear that he was not directly involved in this. So, what can you really say about Kibaki's attempt in fighting graft and the big scandal that often tainted the other presidents in their leadership?
Practically, there is not even a single government. Since we started with Kenyatta, then to President Moi, then to Kibaki and Uhuru Kenyatta, there is not even a single government that is not mad with corruption. But concentrating on the regime of our late President Kibaki, I see a difference. Yes, the issue of Anglo leasing was there, I even remember the story of Atur Magayan.
Yeah, the two brothers.
And they are two brothers, right? That came into the country, and no one apparently knew what their mission was, and then they stormed into standard what. Yes, those stories are there. Mm-hmm. But do you know that I think we only had like 2 major scandals.
Yes.
All right, during Kibaki's regime. Mm-hmm. Can you compare those scandals with the scandals that we had in the Jubilee regime? You cannot compare. In fact, you cannot pay. The one for Jubilee is now extreme. It has gone overboard. Mm-hmm. And what Kibaki didn't want nonsense. I remember there was a time he fired some official from the Prime Minister's, the former Prime Minister's office, okay? And the Prime Minister was not happy. Mm-hmm. And then the Prime Minister also fired by then the Minister for Education and the Minister for Agriculture. You remember those scandals?
Right.
Okay? But I think the way he was dealing with corruption was a bit stern.
Yes.
Compared to the current regime. Yes.
Right, now it's still on that, because it's coming out clearly that there is no president whose leadership has not been marred with corruption. But as a head of state, will we even have a leadership, or rather, what kind of a leader do we really need, so that that scares away these people who loot the public coffers, engage in a lot of corruption that costs the taxpayers? How can we really deal with this?
I think that should be another training for another day.
Yes.
You know why? There's something we call corporate governance. And when we look at the principles of corporate governance, accountability, fairness, all those principles of corporate governance, I find one thing that is lacking: accountability.
Yes.
Accountability has been the biggest, elephant in the room. Yep. So if only, and I know one day we shall get a president, a serious one for that matter. And that is why I'm calling for the nation. Guys, we need to open our eyes. We need to open our eyes. Who will rescue Kenya? And that is why, even in those elective positions, don't elect somebody because they have money. Young people, don't go for someone because they have money. Guys, it is very painful to be in the darkness for 5 years without water, without electricity, without job. It is very painful.
Right.
I've tested that, and it is too bitter. So we can elect somebody who is accountable.
Right.
I know corruption is real, but a president can deal with corruption. I'm telling you, even if I'm elected today, the first thing is to put my house in order. Yes, there are scandals that have been there. Billions of money are being lost, and I've never seen somebody arraigned in court and the asset recovery, brings back our money. Right. I've never seen that. And if it is one or two, but very unique cases. I'm saying this: the day we shall get a president who is serious to deal with corruption is the day we shall get the freedom.
Right. That is well noted, Omanya. Now, let us now flip the other side of the coin for the Kibaki's leadership.
Yes.
And we talk about the 2007-2008 elections, which was controversial, and a lot of things happened, of course. Now, these things, a lot of lives and a lot of property was destroyed in Kibaki's watch. So what does this really spell of President Kibaki, the way he responded, to this, chaos and everything that marred this 2007 re-election?
I think at first he was hesitant. He was not human enough to come out.
Yes.
Because, guys, seeing our people being butchered, you butcher your brother because they don't belong to your tribe. That is the worst thing that can happen in this country, But I think at some time when Kofi Annan and some few delegates, came and, and Grand Coalition was formed, okay? It became like a bit, this guy is human right now, okay? But I think that is what tainted his legacy.
Yes.
Imagine 6,000 people were displaced. Over 1,300 people were killed.
Yes.
Our brothers, our sisters. Guys still live with the marks of post-election violence.
Actually, it's really a bitter taste, you know, for people, because even during his death, some people are, of course, mourning Kibaki.
Yes.
But the people who experienced that,
yes,
they were so bitter about this.
They were very bitter.
Anyway, away from that,
yes,
let's leave Mzee to rest in peace. As we wind up, what probably in a minute or so, what are the leadership attributes that you would wish Kenyans to borrow from President Kibaki, even as we're headed to the general elections?
Yes, yes. I think any serious leader right now, especially somebody who wants to leave a legacy, should emulate the following qualities. Number one, accountability.
Yes.
Accountability is the greatest principle of corporate governance. You can't have, whether it is church, any organization, without accountability, no. You cannot make it. So accountability becomes the first thing. Then, there is another thing that is very important, and people just, you know, look at it as a very small thing. I know politics is all about interest.
Interest, yes.
Yes, but whose interest? Personal interest, right? Yep. But if we can put the interest of our people forward,
yes,
I'm telling you, we can have the best president and the best nation. If people's interests become number one, then I'm telling you, we are going to be very, very okay. There's another attribute called fairness. You know, that is also a principle of corporate governance, okay? When you are fair in distributing resources, do you know why people normally fight, especially in this nation? It's because they know if president comes from the Luo nation, at the Luo are the people who are going to benefit, you know? That perception that if I'm a Kikuyu and the president comes from our region, I'm going to benefit more, right? Yeah. That perception should be gone completely. By what? Exercising what we call fairness. Fairness in distribution of resources, fairness especially in power sharing, deals, and things of the kind.
Right.
So I'm expecting a president who is also creative. Yes, somebody who's very creative and can see now our economy is almost down there. How are they? What are we going to do? Right. You know, and then somebody who can do action more than speaking. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Austin Omanya, for that. And as you said it, we need to have another discussion, of course, talking about leadership.
Yes.
Because there are a number of things that Kenyans need to learn as we're headed to this election period.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Now, a very short break. We still have much for you. Don't go away.